पादमौलिपर्यन्तां गुरूणाम् आकृतिं स्मरेतेन विघ्नाः प्रणश्यन्ति सिद्ध्यन्ति च मनोरथः लक्ष्मीं तनोतु नितरामितरानपेक्षममृतद्वयं नङ्गमशाखिशिखाप्रवालं हैरम्बमम्बुरुहडम्बरचौर्यनिग्रहविघ्नाद्रिभेदशतधारधुरन्धरन्नः सर्वेषां स्वागतं. Welcome to the fourth Bhashya session. So the shlokas that we looked at, shlokas 8 to 10, where it is spoken about a little more about the importance of worshipping Hari. So there we see that the whole loka is filled with tamas due to Kali Yuga acting. Now the question arises, what is tamas? Tamas is one of the three gunas that has been described. I think we will get the most popular reference we will take is Srimad Bhagavad Gita. So there is a very detailed explanation about what tamas is, etc., etc. So here to give a very brief introduction, it is one of the three tattvas. The other two are sattva and rajas tattva. So these three are together called as three gunas. These are the three gunas. Now, what happens is when we read the Sankhya philosophy, when we try to understand the evolution of creation, we understand that these three gunas exist in all of us, and it existed in the state of things before manifestation began. So it was in the state of sattva that manifestation began, but there is an element of rajas also, as well as there is an element of tamas also. So when we say that, we have to understand sattva is the balance of rajas and tamas. Rajas is a lot of energy and prakashatva. So there is a lot of urja emanating, and in contrast, tamas is extremely engulfed in darkness and inertia. So the matter is densely packed in tamas, and it is extremely energetic and randomly moving in rajas. But in sattva, it is in that state where it has the energy to manifest, as well as it is in a state of not random movement, but in a very it can the tamas is stopping it from being too erratic. So this, when it manifests, when there is a balance between rajas and tamas, when sattva manifests, then some material things can come about. So now when we think that what describes tamas, it is associated mainly with darkness. Most of the daityas and all those people are associated with tamas. Tamas also is defined as inertia. Inertia, as we all know, is one of the concepts we find in physics. So if it is in the state of motion, it will stay in the state of motion. If it is in the rest, it will stay in the state of rest. So it creates chaos. So there is a lot of opposition to any changes, and it also represents a stagnant state of mind. There is no dynamic adoption to the new tattvas. So we are not ready to move about. That means there is a lot of attachment associated with it. So even though we know that there are the four ashramas, rarely somebody in this age is following that and would go for vanaprastha ashrama or sannyasa ashrama. However, I don't think even brahmacharya ashrama is followed, but nonetheless, that is a period of study. So today, modern education also brings about the same point of time. So after that, grihastha ashrama is, yes, everybody follows it, but nobody is willing to give up the attachments made in grihastha ashrama, and therefore the progress is completely given up. So when we see that, we know that there is a lot of attachment, there is a lot of stagnation, there is a lot of ignorance of other things. we are happy with something, we do not, we think we know better than everybody else, like that. It also also needs to understand that these are destructive tendencies. These are the characteristics of tamas, and it is associated with downward moving energies. So therefore, we usually, what happens is, uh, the sense of smell is extremely strong. The element of Prithvi is extremely strong. Therefore, what happens is there is a little bit of complacency to do anything or start something. And then there is always a tendency to for the mind to jump into negative emotional tracks, you know, take something too seriously. Something is have something, some obstacle have came about in whatever I planned, and therefore I start thinking negative. The worst case scenarios are always come into mind, and then that starts to haunt my state of mind. So there are a lot of people who fall into depression, etc., like that, because of this reason. Because mainly we have taken up this tamasic state of life. It's not just with respect to our thinking or our actions, it's also with respect to our food. Usually it is said that after something is made, when food is cooked, it should be consumed within the first 6 hours. After that, it starts to lose rasa. And as in Bhagavad Gita, it is said, um, the tamasa food is something that is fermented, something that is, what do we say? Um, Something that goes to spoil. That is the reason cheese is very often associated with this tamasic food. So fermented also, something that, how do we say? Um, huh. So this is the shloka that describes the uh, tamasic disposition. This is Srimad Bhagavad Gita, shloka 10, adhyaya 17. यातयामङ्गतरसं पूतिपर्युषितं च यत् उच्छिष्टमपि चामेध्यं भोजनं तामसप्रियम्. So food that isn't completely cooked, half baked things, or not fully ripe, something that is putrid, something that is stale. Yes, stale was the word I was looking for. Some food, we keep it in a freezer, we freeze something for a long period of time, it does become stale. And then something that is polluted, something which is, in fact, the most of the food that today we see in bakeries are heavily processed. So they are not cooked, but they are complicated sugars, and that is extremely bad for the body. And because what happens is, when we consume it, the energy that is produced in our body is mostly used to digest it. It doesn't contribute to us working somewhere. It doesn't contribute energy towards any actions. It starts to pull all the energy that is produced in the body towards its digestion. So therefore, these tamasic tattva makes us very lazy. So these kind of things are the nature of tamas. So food habits, um, also the kriyas that we do, like we don't keep a stable mind. We don't focus on that, unfortunately. So there is always a pratha where we get up and we do puja. When we do puja, we are trying to reset our mind to a fresh start, but that is lacking most of the time because of the fast life that is going around. So all these things are signs of our tamasic tattvas. And thinking about Hari can reduce it. Thinking about Hari, I explained the tattva. Hari tattva is understanding the elemental formation, the Paramanu Rupa formation of our manifestation. So going to that extent can remove that the tamas and the ignorance associated with it, because we will start thinking ourselves in a better manner, and we will start thinking ourselves in a equal. We start criticizing or differentiating in a negative manner. And why all these things, why he's able to create this, why he's able to reduce this tamas, is also because, also why he is called as Deva Devesha, and why everybody prays to him is because Hari is the primordial matter. Primordial matter means a matter out of which the whole creation exists. So there, when we start to imagine the creation, manifestation, it is within him that it is happening. Usually we have seen in the photographs where we zoom out, we see the world, Earth, go out the solar system, further zoom out, you will find the whole of Milky Way galaxy, then zoom out, there are tons of different galaxies like this, then zoom out, then we will find that there is Hari who is conceiving all these things in his head. So he is the primordial matter. All the creation, every Brahmanda, every creation is within his tattva. So therefore, we say Bhufpadav Yasya Nabhir Vyadasura Nilas Chandra Suryaucha Netre Karnavasha Shirodyor Mukhamapi Dahano Yasya Vaste Yamabthi Antasthayasya Vishwam Suranara Khaga Gobhogi Gandharva Daityaihi Chitram Brahmram Yatetam Tribhuvana Vapusho Vishtumishan Namami. Tribhuvana Vapusho, Tribhuvana, so three worlds, the one who does the poshana for the three worlds. So he is the primordial matter. Within him, everybody exists. So this is basically saying, see, understand there is mud, there is clay. Within that clay, there is some tattva. That tattva, association of that tattva, that is, bringing them together, the pindi, karna, something that can form a dough, something that you apply some water to them and it comes closer. That will help make a creation, that is kumbha. After the creation, if we destroy that kumbha also, ghata, then what happens? What is left is nothing but the clay. So that is Narayana, that is Hari. So creation also is happening because of him. Destruction is also happening because of him. And even after destruction, whatever is left out is absorbed within him. And within that only there is regeneration and then recreation of it. So this is the Hari Tattva. Therefore, everything exists within him. That is the reason he is Sarvottam. When we go to that chapter, we'll find more about this. But that is the reason why everybody prays to him. The 9th and the 10th shloka, when it speaks about Sarvadevesha and Surasura Namaskritah, that is the reason, because everybody is made out of him only. So if we understand Hari to be an atom, Sriman Narayana to be an atom, atoms make everything. Whether it is humans, whether it is animals, whether it is inanimate objects, whether it is something else, everything is made out of atoms only those particles. So therefore, praying to an atom must not be a very difficult concept, because it is the only tattva out of which everything is manifesting. So that is Hari Tattva. That is the understanding that we should have. So these are, this 8, 9, and 10 speak about his all pervasiveness. One who is there everywhere, because Everyone is made out of atoms, so he has to be everywhere. If we are associating Hari as Paramanu Rupa Sriman Narayana, then obviously he has to be everywhere. So he is all pervasive. That is the concept behind this. So this is the Vashyam for these three shlokas. So we'll conclude the session. Swasti prajabhyah pratipalayantam nyayena margena महिषा गोब्राह्मणेभ्यो शुभमस्तु नित्यं लोका समस्ता सुखिनो भवन्तु कायेन वाचा मनसेन्द्रियैर्वा बुद्ध्यात्मना वा प्रकृते स्वभावात् करोमि यद्यत् सकलं परस्मै नारायणायेति समर्पयामि.